I wanted to just take a minute and talk to you about something that happened to me the other day. I was driving along, just going to get groceries, and I had the radio on, and everything was fine. And I was on my way to, run my errands. And I realized at one point while I was driving that I had a tear running down my cheek. And I thought to myself, this is not an allergy, and it's not my sometimes watery eyes. I realized I'm crying. And I thought, wow, isn't that curious? And I became curious and thought, wow, I realized that I was feeling a lot of sorrow. And I didn't necessarily know what it was. I did later, but that's not really my point. I was able to allow that to be there and have a sense of tenderness go a bit inward into my heart, give my heart an inner smile and a tender hand. And I was able to go on and get the groceries and buy the peaches and interact with people in the store and say hello and smile and all the things that we do, all the while realizing that I had a sense of deep sorrow and deep grief, and I was inwardly crying. So I just wanted to share that we can have all of these emotions at once. And I remember talking to a couple of people about it right after it happened, and they both said, "Oh, I would never do that. I wouldn't allow myself to go there." And it made me realize that so often we really are afraid of feeling sorrow or any kind of emotion that we think might overtake us. We feel like we might succumb, and maybe we feel like we would lose control. It's really what it is. And we don't necessarily lose control. I didn't that day. I was simply curious and tender toward myself about it. And it was fine. Nobody realized that I was crying or that I had an inner sorrow. It's so interesting that we don't have any problem saying aloud, "I'm angry." And in fact, being angry fuels us. Um, Emotions are motion. So sorrow can slow the motion down. Anger can give us fuel and speed the motion up. And we are of a nature and a culture that we want to speed up. We don't want to be slowed down. But I would encourage you, please, to feel in your body. And if I hadn't physically had the tear running down my face, I wouldn't have had any clue. It started in my body. It gave me a sign. So let's please, I made a promise to myself, and I felt privileged to have experienced that with a deep sense of curiosity. What was my body telling me or asking me to do? It was just asking me to acknowledge and pay attention. And once we do acknowledge and pay attention, whatever we're feeling comes back to neutral. I mean, after I was fine while it was happening, and I was totally fine after. It was just an experience, something for me to reflect on. And so I would encourage you to give yourself a chance to feel what your body's telling you, slow down. And when you're feeling sorrow, we don't have to understand even what it is. Give yourself an inner nod, a sense of tenderness. And when we can open our hearts to ourselves, we have a much better chance of keeping our hearts open to all those around us with a sense of tenderness and compassion that we don't even have to think about. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.